defend my holy name. And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man which he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits.
Now the thing with Molech is they worship Molech here in the United States. It's called the Bohemian Grove. Down there in Redwood Forest in California. In July, I believe it's the last 2 weeks of every July, they have the Bohemian Grove meeting. And all of the dignitaries and people of these different nations and famous people here in the U.S. go down there and they have a 2-week fag fest in the wilderness out there. And they worship Molech. It's a giant, I think it's a giant stone statue of an owl in Redwood Forest in California, which goes back to the god that the Hamites were worshiping. That the ancient Hamites were worshiping Molech. And the so-called white man worships the gods of the ancient Africans. They worship the gods that the ancient Africans worship. Child sacrifice, taking the children and passing them through the fire. So them kids that's on the milk carton, them kids will sacrifice to Molech. They don't never find them. That's why so many kids are abducted. They get raped because they're getting raped by those Molech worshippers. And that's what the so-called white man is. He's a Molech worshiper. And that's why they taking them little boys and popping them in their hands. That's why them kids be missing on the milk carton. You can listen to something, I don't know if it's still up on YouTube, but it's this guy named Pastor Wickstrom, and he was going at this so-called Jewish rabbi. It's called the Lying Jew. But that's the name I know it by, the Lying Jew. Rabbi Finkelstein against Pastor Wickstrom, T. Wickstrom. And he was bringing out how this guy Wickstrom, he was bringing out how these guys they're into blood sacrifice, blood worshippers. They like sacrificing little children. And the so-called Jewish rabbi said, yeah. He said how they take the children. He said the people like, their breakfast sandwiches and all that. He said them children, he said it's still good meat.
They drain the blood.
They drain the blood because they use the blood and they drink the blood and they take the meat and they take the meat and they have it sent to their slaughterhouses and the people have them every morning in their breakfast. Yeah, that's what he said.
He said you could tell the people and they would not believe it. I could tell the people, but they won't believe it. They won't believe that.
Right.
Yeah. Peter sells Pepsi and all that. Yeah. They won't believe it. They won't believe it.
Yeah, I was telling somebody about that and they was like, well, them fetus cells taste good.
Yeah,
that's what they say. Well, it's like, fuck the people, man. Fuck people.
They brought that out in the movie Soylent Green.
A few days ago on a business channel, I think it was last weekend, McDonald's got scientists, and they was like, they think of new shit all the time to make.
Artificial shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I seen something on, I'm not sure if it's Man vs. Food or something like that. That white guy with the bald head and he goes and Zimmerman, yeah.
That so-called Jew.
That so-called Jew, Zimmerman, right? About maybe a month ago, I seen a show. I think it was a Sunday. I should have hit record on my DVR recorder, but I was just sitting there watching it. And that guy Zimmerman went to this place that they developed the flavors for liquor.
Right.
And he said for the berry flavored liquor, they use something to enhance that berry flavor in the liquor called the beaver anus gland.
What?
And that is used to enhance the berry flavor in liquors. So all of those flavored liquors, remember it says flavor. It ain't no actual berries in there. It says all natural flavor.
Yes, they do, yeah.
That's how they do it. All natural flavor. It's all chemicals.
Yeah.
They chemically synthesize the taste of berries, or the taste of coconut, or the taste of orange, the taste of mango, the taste of peaches. They chemically synthesize this. And on his show, it was a place, and they had nothing but, it was a scientific lab. They had nothing but the flask with the tubes running in there, and they were sitting there testing this and testing that. That's all they were doing. And all the liquor companies deal with them. If you want a certain liquor developed, you go to them and they develop it for you. They develop the flavor the way you want it, then it gets mass produced and it ends up in the store. The beaver anus gland. I'm telling you, man. Not bullshitting you, man.
They're trying to trick you with visuals. They'll have you drink, they'll say like fruit punch, right? It's a whole natural flavor, but they have a bunch of fruits on the cover of the bottle, so you can think it's all natural. They got watermelons in here, they got pears.
Look at the ingredients, and light gum, all type of.
And then on the back in small letters, 5% fruit juice. Like that.
Or like what's this brother Ayathan was telling me? Elder Ayathan was telling me something about fish oil that I didn't know. In order for them to call it natural, it has to have 10% of actual fish oil in there. The other 90% is chemically synthesized. So, in order for them to call it all natural, it has to have 10% of actual fish oil in it. So all the fish oil is totally unnatural.
Can't win.
All of the vitamin C and all of those vitamin C supplements, it's all genetically modified vitamin C. Because I was talking to a woman at the health food store, and I was asking her, because a bottle of straight up, if you want to call it organic vitamin C, it's like $40-something. Can't afford that. Can't afford that. It's like, I think, 60 tablets. Can't afford that shit, man. Like, every month or every 2 months, you got to spend like $40 on it to get straight up natural vitamin C, or the strongest. The fruit that has the most vitamin C on the planet is called rose hips. Rose hips has the highest vitamin C of any fruit out there. All the citrus fruits are high in vitamin C. That would be pineapples and oranges and lemons and limes. Those are all high in vitamin C. But they don't have more vitamin C in them than rose hips. And it was been about $40-something for it. They're in the health food store. And I found out, and she was telling me in there that, and we looked it up because we was there and we was looking it up and we were reading into it. The vitamin C that you get in these stores, it comes from genetically modified corn. Is where they get the vitamin C from. They let the they let the corn soak, and then they squeeze the stuff out the corn, and that's where the vitamin C comes from. That's why all these different companies got their own recipe for their vitamin C mixture. Different companies, they'll have this and that. Some companies will have rose hips up in there. They'll say that, oh, we have rose hips in here, we got this in here, that in here. Citric acid. Anytime it says citric acid, that's a genetically modified vitamin C. It's a GMO. Anytime it says citric acid, and the citric acid comes from genetically modified corn. So no matter where you get it from, it's a GMO.
Now, precept for you. It's Isaiah 24:5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
They have transgressed the laws, they changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. But people want this to continue, man. They want the society, they want this place to continue. They can't see. You know what? The Romans couldn't see that they were at their end. Just like the Greeks, just like the Babylonians, just like the Persians, just like the Assyrians, just like the Egyptians. They couldn't see that their end was upon them when it was upon them. And as a matter of fact, what is it, the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe? At the beginning of the movie, when they were fighting Germania, and Maximus was a fictitious character, but Marcus Aurelius and Commodus were actual real Caesars that lived. The guy who played the part of Quintus, who was Maximus's right-hand man, he said he said to Maximus, he said, look, they were about to go against the Germanians. He said, look, people should know when they're conquered. And he looked at Quintus. He said, Quintus, would you? Would I? Then they led the army off and fucked the Germanians up. And brought down the Germanians, chopped their head off and all that. That's the beginning of the movie Gladiator. But when somebody's downfall is upon them, they're not going to consider that it's their downfall. They're gonna fight until they're brought down. This man, this society, this man is no different. They're gonna keep going until they're actually brought down.
Go ahead. This is Psalms 58 and 2. Psalm 1. Do you speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth.
Right. In their heart they work wickedness and they weigh their violence in the earth. Everything that this man does, they set this stuff up. All of these different, what they call terrorists, they set these guys up. The United States set up and financed Al-Qaeda through the CIA. Saddam Hussein was set up and financed through the CIA. When Daddy Bush, back in the 70s, was the head of the CIA, Saddam Hussein was his main man over there in Iraq on his payroll. So they set these guys up.
Osama bin Laden's covert name is declassified now. Tom Winston or something crazy. Tim Osman.
Tim Osman. Yeah. Tim Osman. That's Osama bin Laden. You know, Tim Osman. There's a reason why the Bush family had a military fly the bin Laden family out of the United States after he passed an executive order that no planes are supposed to fly, right after the towers came down. But the bin Laden family was flown safely out of the United States. And the Bush and the bin Laden family have been in bed with each other for years. They got business deals dealing with oil for years.
And they own part of Snapple, the bin Laden family.
Yep. I heard years ago that Saddam Hussein was the owner of Daimler Chrysler, if I'm not mistaken. And he was the owner of Daimler Chrysler. This is years ago. So, you know what I'm saying? These so-called terrorists, they were set up and financed by the CIA. You know? Al-Qaeda, you might as well call it Al-CIA. You know, Al-CIA. Go ahead.
That was it.
What was you gonna say? Yeah, go ahead.
Isaiah 24 and 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Right. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Go ahead.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Right. They've changed the laws. They transgressed the laws. They changed the ordinance. That's why they allow two men to get married now. And they're looking at you like there's something wrong with you because you're not with the program. Like it's the best and most exciting thing in the world is to be a homosexual. It's like the best thing on the planet. There's something wrong with you if you're against it. This guy Tim Hardaway, who was a point guard in the NBA for many years, he said that he don't like homosexuals. You know, he got the NBA basically blackballed him. They banished him. He was like an ambassador type guy for the NBA. And when he made those statements, I guess on a radio program, they brought hell down on that guy Tim Hardaway. That's right. He got rid of him. He said he don't want none of them around him. That he don't want no damn homosexuals around him.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the chick from the movie She Hate Me.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah.
Manly looking one. That's her. The one that he was boning, and she said, "Get this thing up." And she grabbed it and squeezed it. That's her right there. From the movie She Hate Me. Yeah, that's her. She was the one who came up in there, and the group. She said, "I'm gonna back you down."
Yeah, cuz.
Then something, the light skinned one, the rough one came and said, "Look, I'm gonna back you down."
I can't get a clear shot.
I called him bitch boy. He said, "Bitch boy." That was her. She said, "I'm gonna back you down, bitch boy." That's really a bitch. He got in the bed with her.